There's some Dinar Guru updates, starting off with RV already. Word on the street in Iraq is that one IQD will be $3 USD. Time will tell if this is going to be true. $3 to $4 seems prevalent in many discussions, a bit too soon to know. We will know shortly enough. All right, Breitling via Bob the Taxman says we received information from CBI of their proposing a change to rates in Parliament today, the 6th of February, and that was from the 6th of February a couple days ago. This information is confirmed as it came from the Central Bank of Iraq Media Bureau. We do not have any information pertaining to any specific rate or date, but this information may be an indicator of forward movement on our investment. Nader from the Mideast this morning, the Parliament. I don't know what the Parliament has to do with the dinar. They're saying they're going to put it up to 1,300. That's pretty good. It's not bad. It's like 15% down. Down is good for dinar holders. I hope it continues like that, goes down. I think the float starts already, but still not strong enough. You got the news, the dollar, it's going to be, by the end of the week, maybe 1,300. Then we see from there. It's not bad from 1,460 to 1,300. I hope from 1,300 to 1,000, then a little less and less, and that's how we're going to go. I think it's going to be good. I think we're ready. All right, Pimpy article quote, advisor to the Prime Minister. The dollar exchange rate will be reduced according to the proposal of the central bank. When they say the dollar exchange rate will be reduced, that's the right direction. You want the dollar to be reduced, not the dinar. Nobody knows what that exchange rate is going to be. All right, Mark Z via PDK, we hear from local markets that the dinar is floating from 17 something down to 15 something. And this week, the government says it's going down to 13 something. It continues to move in the proper direction now. The government said they are counting on a peg later on this week of around 1,300, which is temporary and allows it to find its value. Over the course of this week, it has improved its value about 20%, but it's not what we are looking for. We are still getting great chatter from the banking side of it, and the chatter is still great from Iraq, so not much has changed. There was zero bad news overnight. All right, Claire article quote, the Council of Ministers approves the amendment of the exchange rate of the dollar equivalent to 1,300 dinars. The Council of Ministers approved the decision of the Board of Directors of Central Bank of Iraq to adjust the exchange rate of the dollar against the dinar equivalent to 1,300 dinars to $1. Frank 26, Iraq boots on the ground report, Firefly. The CBI governor is going to meet with the United States Federal Reserve on February 7th about the exchange rate. All day on television, that's all they've been talking about, how they have things in place. They also told us they're going to arrest smugglers. Frank says as soon as they're done in Washington, D.C. and return back home, things will start to show up. All right, Pimpy says the hot topic of the year appears like is the dollar exchange rate. Once again, I hear all kinds of flying rumors, and I tell you guys, just be careful. Stay grounded. Don't get suckered into anything. It's great to hear all the excitement that Iraq's talking about changing the exchange rate, but if you're expecting some huge, ridiculous exchange rate, you're going to be upset. Walking stick via Frank 26, there's no RV. There's an accepted rate. There is no need for an RV because they have agreed upon an exchange rate to reach via a float. When they did this, they factored in the unknown. Number one, inflation fluctuation. They're going to make adjustments if there's an inflation fluctuation. It's called a float. Number two, oil sale prices, mainly for the HCL. Number three, resources of Iraq tapped and untapped. That's important because that way you can determine where you're going to get the rear and the float. The flow, the IQD in a float will be within plus minus 3%. The currency will be assessed backed by the CBI for the first time. All right, Frank 26 articles. What is the theme? What is the mantra? What repeats itself over and over again? The Iraqi dinar exchange rate. What has changed is they're saying there will be a rise. There will be a change. They use verbs, adjectives, everything that indicates it's not going to be left at the program rate. All right, Nader from the Mideast says not a country in the world is going to be more than $5, more than $4, $28, $11, $16. When I see that, I just laugh. I don't even want to comment about that. If we get to 1-to-1, we're lucky. $16, 28, 11, 7, 8, 6, that's too much. When people say 1-to-1, that is reasonable. When they say 2-to-1, that's reasonable. When they say $3 to 350 to 1, that's reasonable. But when they go above 350, that's a big dream. You'll never see $28. That's crazy. All right, Pimpy says we know people are getting ready to protest, but they promised an exchange rate change, and things seem to have slowed down just a little bit. Mark Zevia, PDK from Reuters, Iraq revalues currency to 1,300 IQD per 1 USD, cabinet statement. On Bloomberg, quote, Iraq revalues currency weeks after replacing central bank head, unquote. They are showing clearly they have the ability to change it at any time at will. I'm getting some interesting feedback from the banking side on this. They are ecstatic. They have been looking for this first move. Treat this as a rumor, but many of my bankers that are involved in the exchange process are convinced that after Iraq made that announcement this morning, we are now in a 48-hour window since they have now made the first move. Treat this as a rumor. The thing you treat as a fact is the process is well underway. Claire article, quote, the Central Bank of Iraq begins selling dollars at the new official rate. Quote, the Central Bank of Iraq will start selling the dinar at the new official rate starting on Wednesday, 2023, on February 8th, and will continue its procedures and steps until the dollar exchange rate stabilizes according to the official exchange rate. The exchange rates will be as follows: 1,300 dinars per dollar purchases price of the dollar from the Ministry of Finance. 1,310 dinar per dollar, the selling price of the dollars to banks through the electronic platform. 1,320 dinars per dollar, selling price of dollars from banks and non-bank financial institutions to the ultimate beneficiary. Frank 26 article, quote, Central Bank of Iraq begins selling the dollar at the new official rate. Quote, the Central Bank of Iraq will start selling the dollar at the new official rate starting on Wednesday, corresponding to February 8, 2023. Will continue its procedures and steps until the dollar exchange rate stabilizes according to the official exchange rate. In the float, you'll have to know when to hold them, when to fold them, but before that, you will watch the exchange rate gradually internationally float to 1-to-1. And lastly, Mark Z via PDK, quote, panic selling of U.S. dollars as Iraqis try to get rid of their dollars after Central Bank of Iraq's successful measure to reinstate IQD value, unquote. Mark Z says these people know something. They know the mechanism has started. All over Iraq, they're trying to dump their U.S. dollars, get their dinars back in their hands. This is huge news.